All right, we left the Sunshine Coast after we found out we were a week early for drag racing. We stopped by a good friend Jesse's house for a night here, thinking we'd wait the week out and maybe drag race next weekend, but he tells us it's canceled, or not canceled, canceled for us, electric vehicles. Sounds like all the airstrips have caught on and they think we're going to win it. So they know we're coming, they've canceled it, we're not going to be able to race. Fires or I don't know, something or other. Chicken. This here though, while we're here, I'm going to show you a bit. That's a 52 GMC that Jesse and his dad built from scratch up. I think they race it a little bit. Of course, Jesse's got a toy shed of awesomeness. So it was a fun stop while we're here, but no drag racing for us. Guess we'll carry on again further. Thanks for the charge, Jesse. I'll put $1 in your mailbox. Sweet. Hello YouTube, we're here in Hope, British Columbia. It's 8 o'clock in the morning and we're just charging over around the corner at the local hockey rink. And there happens to be a skateboard park behind the hockey rink, so that's pretty convenient for us. At 8 o'clock in the morning, there's not too many people in the skate park, so we get the whole place to ourselves. So I thought this would be a good time to talk a little bit about range anxiety, fractions, and skateboarding, and what I think of all three. So a big topic with EVs is range anxiety, and we haven't really seen it yet. And I think the reason is my addiction to fractions. What makes most people scared of traveling in an electric vehicle, trying to reach their next destination, knowing if they're going to get there, I kind of enjoy those calculations. So this has been working out really well for us. When I was a young kid, I really didn't enjoy doing firewood, and it was a part of our life because we heated our family home with firewood and our shop, and I like to work in the shop, so you got to heat the home in the shop. So I put in my fair share of nights doing firewood, and to get through it I would do fractions. I would figure out, you know, am I a tenth done, am I an eighth done, am I a quarter done, you know, am I 15/16ths finished this load of firewood. And that would kind of keep my mind occupied while I finished the work at hand. So I've really always enjoyed math, I guess. So on a trip like this, I really like calculating how many kilometers are left, what percentage of my battery is left, and making some estimates on what kind of driving style is going to get me there safely. So when I head into a new hill, I'll take a look at the elevation profile and kind of get an idea of my ups and downs. If I'm a little worried at all, I'll go extra slow into the whole situation. One of our biggest journeys so far was Princeton to Hope, which we're about to do back in the other direction. And when we did Princeton to Hope, it was a total of 140 kilometers we did on a single charge. So that's a 24 kilowatt hour battery in my very inefficient van. And how we did it is we just traveled at 55 kilometers per hour the whole way. And sure enough, it took us twice as long as it would take, but we made it all the way here in one charge and even arrived with 17% battery still left over. Mostly as a result of the big hill dropping back into Hope. So the regenerative braking gives us a lot of energy back, and if you can get your speed back to something where the wind really isn't resisting you. So most of your power consumption is into wind resistance. So the slower you go, the less the wind resistance, and it's actually, I think it's a multiplier of 4 to 1 scale of if you go twice as fast, you're going to get half the range, and it just gets worse and worse the faster you go. So if you go super slow, you'll go super far, and that seems to be getting us by so far. Seeing as we're at the skate park, I'm going to give you a little example of what regenerative braking is kind of all about. So if we head into a hill with our van and we're going to drive up the hill, we're going to use, say, 50% of our energy going up the hill. Now, a lot of that is due to wind resistance, climbing the hill, and frictions, tire friction, those kinds of things. Now, most of the two is wind resistance and climbing the hill. So if firstly you just go very slow when you climb the hill, we've not eliminated but reduced the wind resistance quite a bit. So now we're putting energy into climbing the hill, taking our mass of our van and all our contents up the hill. That's going to take a bunch of energy. And of course, tire friction, which my 60 series tires doesn't help much, but hey, it's got to look good, right? So if we're using the majority of our energy climbing the hill, then going down the other side, as long as we travel slow so that wind resistance isn't much of a factor, then we should, in theory, get most of our energy back in the battery. So I'm going to give you a little example of that and what it looks like on a skateboard. And then my van should be charged up and we should be on our way to Hope Slide next. So we'll touch base when I get there. Is left and making some estimates on what kind of driving style is going to get me there safely. So I don't, I'm sorry.